To get started, today we're going to cover the Google platform, of course, and give you guys some information about Google Drive and how to use that in classrooms. With that said, go ahead, Mackenzie.
Yeah, okay. So, why use Google? Before even entering this tech intern, I didn't know much about Google at all. Really, I only used it to search. So what I found, the best things, it's always there. So if you log into Google on this computer and then you log into Google at home, all your documents or anything that you've created is always there, and it always saves automatically. Also that you can share with each other, so you can share your documents with other teachers or with other students and kind of see the real-time interaction of I'm typing and then someone else is typing, and really collaborate easier with students and teachers. So I've got this other little video and I already uploaded it here. Just a fun thing to watch.
Home is where we keep the things we need. Whether it's a lawnmower or a coffee pot, it has a home in our lives. Of course, our documents are no different. For years, they've lived on our computers. Each person has their own computer-based home for documents. When we need to share a document, we usually attach it to an email and send it to a friend's or coworker's computer home. Here's the problem. When you attach a document to an email, copies are created. Consider this. If you send an email attachment to 3 people, the same document will exist in 4 different places. That's a problem. There's a better way, and it means saying goodbye to messy email attachments. This new kind of home isn't on your computer. It's on the internet. And that makes sharing and collaborating on documents much easier and gives you full control over who can see and access your documents. Here's the basic idea. Instead of attaching a document to an email, let's switch it around and look at how we can attach an email address to a document. Meet Sam. Sam is the editor of a neighborhood newsletter called the Oak Tree View. She works with local writers who like to publish articles in the newsletter. Sam loves her job, but often feels frustrated when time is wasted managing all the articles. It's a familiar problem. Each month, writers send her draft articles as email attachments. She reviews them and sends them back with comments. One article might create 6 different versions of the same file, not to mention countless emails. Sam often feels buried by all the email attachments. She finds it hard to keep track of all the versions being sent to her from the writers. As the deadline looms, frustration rises. Something has to give. Sam decides to try something new, Google Docs. Here's what happens. First, she visits the Google Docs page and creates a free Google account. She logs in, and because some articles were already written, she uploads the current drafts right from her computer. With a snap, Google Docs turns the offline articles into online versions. Now, all she needs to do is invite the writers to collaborate on the documents. Here's how. She clicks Share, inserts email addresses, and clicks Invite Collaborators. Google Docs sends the writers an email with a secure link directly to her document. One click, and they can edit and save the document online. This means that when Julie edits the document, Sam sees the changes immediately. Since there's only one document, there is never confusion about updates or versions. It's all saved along with the past versions on the website. For the first time, the articles all have a home, a single place for organizing and editing that is accessible from any computer with internet access. Problem solved. What's really cool is that this problem isn't just solved for documents, but also spreadsheets and presentations. All 3 can now have a secure home on the web that works exactly like Sam's documents. Sam is relieved. Without having to deal with attachments, multiple versions, and all that clutter, she can be an editor instead of a document master. For the next newsletter, not a single email attachment is sent, and Sam beats the deadline by a week. Sharing documents made simple, and all for free. Google Docs rocks.
It's a good point. They're free. You guys, there's a lot of programs that schools stand for that, the trouble that you can't be replaced. And free access is going to make it free for everybody.
So I'm sure you all can relate with having multiple documents, or not knowing where you saved your documents, students losing their documents. So getting started. I'm going to go through this, and we're going to go through it together and really learn about navigating through Google Chrome and the suite and creating and uploading documents. So first, if you want to just go to google.com, we'll start there, and I'm going to do it up on here too, just to be with you. And then you can log in at the top right corner. I'm already logged in, and this is important because it'll always keep you logged in until you log out. So if I don't log out after I leave here, then, well, it'll, of course, shut down, but another student or someone can come and my name will be up and they can access my files.
So if we uncheck Space Sign In, will it automatically log us out when we are done?
Yeah, I guess it will. Yeah. Yeah. So once you're signed in, you can look up here to these boxes, and those are your Google apps. We're going to click on the Google Drive. So under those box squares, it has Google Drive, and this is where all the magic happens, pretty much, I think. You can create and upload. Those are the two main buttons. So what are you going to create? You can create folders, documents, presentations, spreadsheets, forms, drawings, and then you can also upload your own files from your computer by the button beside it, the upload button. So here's the different things that we're going to go through. We'll first go through Google Docs. So let's click on all together and click Document. So we're going to the big red button, Create, and then Document. And this is kind of like Microsoft Word, where you can type things, except it's way better. The different features, of course, you can share it with others, and we're going to actually do that. We'll all share this document together. You can also do just about anything that you can do on Microsoft Word. Really cool thing is the add-ons. This is something that you can add onto a doc. So let me just show you. I'll click on Get Add-ons, and I'm not going to go through these, but I mean, for example, EasyBib. It's a bibliography creator. Thesaurus. So if you add these on, they'll just enhance your documents a lot.
What's really nice too that when you do an add-on, once you've added it to your platform, it actually is always there. It doesn't go away. So, like when she did the drop, when she clicked on add-on, you saw the Concienza was on there. So that's something that we've already loaded, or I've already loaded to mine, which is there, always there. Which you'll see when we get into DocThis as well.
So no matter which computer you log on,
You're logging into your account. Yep, it's there.
It'll all come under your name.
I have a question.
Yes.
About saving documents on Google Drive. I've got lots and lots of documents that I have created that I can't figure out how to save them on Google Drive. It should be simple.
Yeah, we're going to go through the G-class folders, and we're going to go through, yes.
That's still coming on.
Yeah, it's saving while you're doing it. But, well, it's saving it while you're doing it, but she's actually more asking about where she finds it once she's done it. And the big thing with your students that you want to make sure of is...
You're asking how you love.
Yeah, like it's made years ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
That
Like
would
before
be,
people become electronic.
That upload button.
Yeah, it's
This
not
would be
working
right
Word
here.
or something.
where my mouse is, but you can upload, and I can just, I'll see if there's anything on here. I can click this upload files, and then that's where you can go and go to your different folders or documents that are already on your computer. And then, I'm not sure what these are, but better not.
No.
Yeah. But that's where you can upload things that you've already created.
Okay.
Is it Microsoft Word or something like that, or is it one that you said that you've done in both? Okay. Okay. Yeah. One thing to remember about with that is Google, you have, as far as space, you have at least 5 gigabytes of space for files that are not Google Doc files. So say if you've got something Microsoft Word or Excel or something like that, you can still add it to that drive. You just, and it will keep track of it for you. It will show you how much you've used of it. But you can also transfer it into a doc form. So we'll kind of get into that. We're going to actually put up a moderator here in just a minute too, so that you guys can put questions in that we can address and maybe even come back to you one-on-one and discuss some things with you, so that we won't take up too much time tonight. So, go ahead.
Okay, So I've labeled my document High School Technology Workshop. And so what I'm going to do is share it with Angie. I'm going to share it with Angie, my guinea pig, and then she's going to share it, and she's going to share it, and we're just going to try and go in kind of a circle and just watch the collaboration happen. So I'm going to click the blue share button up here.
So you can see the process as she goes through this is how she's going to share with everybody. This is what you get when you click on the share button. This is the menu.
Right now it's set to private, so only I can access this since I'm logged in, and I want to change that so that anyone with the link can view it. After I've changed that setting, now I'm going to invite a collaborator. So Angie, what's your Gmail, or what's your email address?
At school.
Yeah.
SCSC.
Okay, I'm going to send. And so I'm going to push that. Where are you going to find these documents as they're being shared? This is kind of like your home button, I feel like, up here, the very top left. And you're going to find these under Shared With Me. So under where it says My Drive, the next one down is called Shared With Me. That's where anything shared with you that you didn't actually create will be there. High School Technology Workshop. So you got it? Okay, now you're going to click the blue share button. Hopefully. I haven't. Well, yeah. I do too.
Share button.
She might. Her name popped up when you started typing Lucas because you've been using this to send emails to us, right? Yeah. So she has not yet used this because she was wondering why it's. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought it's been recognizing it. Every time
And do I have to hit done?
Yeah, then you'll click that. Hopefully on yours, where on your shared with me, it'll pop up there where she shared with you. Yep. Oh, but it says yeah.
Now both of your names are there.
Well, when it says shared with me, it says who shared it with me. It doesn't say Andrew. It says
Well, that's because my file is the one we have open.
so like.
Right, so when I go back to that, we're going to have you share as well. Okay, so then your blue share button.
And on your screen, A and B showed up.
Okay.
Those are collaborators.
Yeah, the A is probably Angie.
Mm-hmm.
Again.
Being speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't need to go and say change.
No, you could if you wanted to at that point, but no, I just wanted to do that.
It's already done. It's already done.
Mm-hmm. I'm not done.
And once you've got it shared, you can
Play around with
even
it.
type anything or just see how 2 people or 3 people can be typing on one document at the same time. So if you share a document with your students or a group of students, then they can collaboratively work on the same document. They don't even have to move their chairs around. They'll sit with different groups. They can just work from their own station together.
So we're getting ready to share it with you. So when you, Kristen gets that going, I just a real quick testimony on that, curtail that. I had someone tell me today that they had a student, special needs student in their class, and he does not, or she, I'm not even sure, does not like for someone to stand close to them. He gets really nervous. So she was able to sit from her computer and collaborate with him, and she was paying attention to when he maybe stopped or you know, you could tell when he was getting flustered just by watching what he was doing. And she said that she was able to kind of then give him some hints, and he would like start honing in. It was just really cool how that worked out. So, yeah. So that's a neat little way of seeing how that works. So, and then another thing she said, you know, one of the students across the room wouldn't have to make that transition of getting up and moving around the room. They just share with that person they're supposed to share with, and they can be clear across the room.
All right.
All right, here's right here. Move up. Are you almost to the? It's about 10 after 12 after. Where we got? Oh, so you're gonna be. No, I'm sorry. You're gonna need to be shared. Shared video. Right here.
Well, minutes.
So now you're able to collaborate as well.
Yeah.
See all the different names. So start typing in. You'll see your name. Once you start typing. So you won't see your name. Others will see your name.
It's gonna be.
That's what I had to learn. It's like, why am I not seeing my name on this slide? But you won't see your name, but you'll see the others collaborate.
If you're the one typing, you're black.
Okay. Oh.
Okay, and then everybody else gets color.
Right.
Yeah, that'll tell you who is typing.
Check in with those three. Get them guided to the next step.
You're purple over here.
So you can see that who's typing, you can see, you know, what's going on.
It's like a transition state.
It's really cool for kids to be able to do that as far as, and it works with any
Stay over
project,
there and
any
start to get their attention.
Yeah.
Be in
document,
their bubble.
spreadsheet, forms, anything that-
Pre-transition.
spreadsheet. So you might find that you can use another thing more than someone else. Right. Right.
So, have you gotten yours shared with you yet?
Yes, she did.
So as you can see, this is a good way for all students to collaborate together. Going back to the create button, so I mentioned that there was a presentation tool, and I'm just going to click through these quickly because they have basic features and then able to share. So Docs or Chrome presentation, that's kind of like PowerPoint, where you can create presentations and slides and then send them or collaborate together. You can create forms and spreadsheets, where we're going to go over later more in depth. And then you can create drawings, which is kind of similar to Paint. You can add shapes and figures, different things like that.
One quick little snippet with that is if you're in your Word document or your docs, it's so easy to call it what Microsoft is. If you're in your docs and you say insert the drop-down menu, you want to go there, the drop-down menu shows drawing on there. So you actually, if you're in docs, you go to insert, it comes down, and you see drawing as an option. It'll open that.
Created it.
Well, no, it actually opens drawing up. You can make something right there and click save and close, and then it'll right in.
But if you didn't do it that way, if you like physically went to the drawing and then wanted to upload or like insert it later, after, like if you didn't create it inside here,
Right.
you're going to be able to do that.
Well, we did that earlier, and it saves it, but it's, you have to go to a different way to get it to insert it.
Oh,
So this way, insert.
straightforward.
Yeah.
I was curious about that. I'm a math major, so I really like the equation editor that Microsoft Word offers, and I'm very fluent with it. But is there an equation editor or like an add-on that is like for that kind of thing, or is that just something I have to search for? Or
You can search it up really quickly. She can type that in real quick. And another thing while she's doing that is, you know that the address bar, what is it, HTTPS? You know, that's the address bar normally. We call it in this little platform, it's called an omnibar. And in the omnibar, you can actually do math problems. It's not just an address bar. It's
Right.
You can type anything in there, and it actually does that.
Well, I'm talking more like the typing out
program.
like homework assignments and,
Yes.
you know, making stuff like that.
Yeah. In your Google form as well, you're able to do math things too. See. Is this the program that's close to that?
This one isn't.
We'll research that.
We can research that and get back to you with that. So
Yeah.
that was a good question, and I think the moderator will definitely get back to that.
So quickly, I'm just gonna go through a couple things that docs and forms are really great for. Just some quick examples. Collaborative lesson planning. So you can all collaborate on one document and create lessons together. That's just one example. Staff grade level meeting notes. So take your notes and share with the rest of your staff, kind of like we're doing now with the high school technology notes on the doc. You can take notes to each other and you'll all have each other's notes. Store your lesson plans in a shared doc list. Improve your writing process. So that's just by collaborating. I like this one, how I remember I used to always have the big journals lugging around. You can just have Google Docs, and they're always there, always saving. It can translate letters, track student homework. That's on the spreadsheets. Sign-up sheets, that's on spreadsheets. Kind of like Microsoft Excel is what it is. Science experiments. Flashcards. And then the forms, I liked this. You can do pre-assessments or exit slips. That would be an idea to use a form. That's basically where you're creating a question or a set of questions and they'll type in their answers. It'll come kind of like a quiz. Yeah.
I got to visit Wayne Township schools today, so I was at Ben Davis University and some of their elementary and middle school, and I was specifically interested in how the math teachers were using Chromebooks, and they would use the Chromebooks at the beginning of their class, at the end of the class, with Google Forms, like that example that you just saw. And the teacher would use screencast software to record basically his own Khan Academy. The building principal referred to it as the Johnson Academy. He would use screencast software, and he said it's amazing how the students would listen to his voice electronically, more so than him being in front of the room. And it was a great help because he would post them the night before the lesson, and he would be doing the math problems with his, you would use your Mobi tablet, the same thing, and he would recording it, and the kiddos would love, they feel like they were cheating because they know what the next day's assignment's about. So,
Kind of the flipping, have you guys heard of the flipping the classroom? Yeah, so you kind of do the flipping the classroom with that kind of option.
Other things, observation forms, reading records. So there's just a lot of different ways that you can use docs and forms.
Know that you guys are getting this PowerPoint presentation as well, so you can actually go through this, and the links you saw on there, they are actually going to be able to.
They'll be shared with us?
Yes. So you'll be still seeing in your shared folder. Actually, we're getting ready to share.
Yeah, the last thing that I'm going to be talking about is folders, and that's an organization workflow or tip, whatever you'd like to call it. If I go up to here at my home button, I'm going to go to my recent documents, and I see that I've created high school technology workshop, and to me, it's all just random right here, and so I want to create a folder to put these things in. So let's just create, or you don't have to do this, I'll create a folder. This is going to be high school technology documents. Now, I can checkbox this, go to the folder right here, and I can move it now to what folder I just created, high school technology documents, and then move.
Can you share the entire folder?
Yes. Yeah, and we've done that a lot. And now over here in my high school technology documents, I have the doc that we created, or that I created and shared. So that's just one way that you can organize everything. You can organize by your classrooms, class periods, or whatever you like.
So the thing that I've run into sometimes is like I'll share a file and then I'll put it in a folder and then I create another file that I think I've shared with the person, but so if you share the folder, even if it's empty, if you want to share
Will it
every,
keep repopulating?
yes.
Yes.
If you share the folder.
Every time you add something, it knows to.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you share individual files, then the folder isn't there, so because they're on shared.
Here we're going to switch gears a little bit right now because we're going to talk to you about how to use the G-class folders, Doctopus, Gubrick, and Flubaroo with your students to make this. I'm sorry?
I can't even say that.
Yeah, these are some really, and it's going to be fun how you guys, we're going to do a fun quiz here in just a bit. But G-class folders, just to quickly explain that, I'm going to pull this up real quick. I'm going to have a moderator. You might remember that I sent out a tech tip, one of the 10-minute tech tips about Google Moderator. I was kind of asking you guys to share with me about Skype, Google Hangout, things like that. I don't know if you had the opportunity to listen to all your tech tips or not, but there's one out there about that, and this is what it looks like. So with that, you guys, I'm going to share, share this first. I'm going to share this, and Andy, we're going to start with you. I'm going to share the full presentation with you. And we'll do the same as what we did with the other. I'm going to get another practice of this. So, go around the room. With that, so then once you get this, then go ahead and click open that moderator tab on the Doctopus screen, and you'll have that option to go ahead and add your questions at that point. And I'll go back to G-class folders real quick. While you're doing that, I'll go ahead and talk about the G-class folders. That way we'll save some time. G-class folders just is a, it's actually a way in Doctopus that before you had to create them yourself, but now Doctopus has been updated and it actually does it for you, which is really, really great. So what it does, and I'll go back to that and open this up, because you guys will now be able to click on this and have the handout to follow along with me. With G-class folders, automatically sets up folders, a teacher folder, a student folder, and the student folders are separated out to class edit, class view, and this is where you were asking about the question of how can students hand in homework and things like that without me tracking all over the place trying to find which student sent in what. So this automatically sets it up for you so each student has their own folder. And so you're going to send out, you're going to see this step by step, but you're going to send out an assignment. You have your own teacher folder that is connected to that assignment, which we'll walk through with Doctopus. And then the student will be able to hand in that assignment once it goes to their email, work on it, send it straight back to that document to you and that specific folder. And has everybody got this around yet?
No.
Keep it going.
Sorry.
Okay. It's all right. So I know it,
Because like right now the way I'm managing is it sends me an email when someone shares a document with me. So I created folders on GroupWise, and when I get an email, I throw those kids over there because it has their names on it, and then I can click on it and pull up their document and grade it right there.
right.
Because I couldn't figure out how to do it in here.
Right. Well, and this
Because
is,
I can't see names.
yeah. So you're going to absolutely love this, and it's going to be a way that keeps your files organized. It's also going to help you to organize your own teacher files as well. So like I said, I have a step-by-step, screenshot by screenshot, and a YouTube video link for you guys to follow up with all of this. So you're going to be able to be experts at this by the time it's over with, and you'll be able to have bragging rights to others. Get to know. Right, so does everybody have the presentation up now? Okay, have you? Okay, she's sending it right now. So the good thing is you've had expert time to learn how to share and open up what's being shared. With that said, I'm going to actually go back to part of it and ask you all, once you all are on the presentation, if you go ahead and pull that up, go to where it says G-class folders. If you want to, you can click on here for details. Kind of gives you a Another great thing that when you click on something in Docs, it automatically opens a new tab. So this might be something that you want to get used to as well. Instead of continuing to go back to that and clicking on that link again, say, oh, I need to see something from that. Remember to look up here in your tabs first. It may already be open. And that's where, you know, if you're new to this, be prepared because it will happen, because it's happened to us even, that you got all these tabs up here. You're like, oh my gosh, but you may have the same document open more than once. And of course, I don't know if any of you are familiar with this, but you can actually just click on a tab and move it where you want it to go to make it closer to where you need it to be. All right, so we'll go back here. Everybody's up there all in the G-Class folder slide, and we'll go ahead and click on the handout. And another thing I might point out here, we didn't have to come in with a whole stack full of handouts for you guys. You actually have it, and you're going to have it now on your computer when you go back to use these documents. So as you can see, we'll just quickly go through class edit. These files will be editable by all your students. This is the folder that it sets up in the G-Class folder. Okay, these are files that everyone in the class will be able to edit. Okay, an example of this would be maybe group assignments that you have sent out to your students. I'm going to get on this. And then class view is where they're only viewable. Christine. Are you on the handout thing?
Yeah.
Click on just click on details. Click on these. There you go. Okay. So class view is where your students are able to view only. They can't make any changes to this document. So some examples of this might be your syllabus, or a weekly assignment that's just a template that you want them to read, or a math page that you want them to do but not be able to edit. You want to have them turn it in a different way. Okay, so, and then the student drop boxes, that's what the one I was telling you about before. That's a folder for the students that gives them a chance to just email you their assignment. But it's specifically to each student. They're getting their own folder for handing in homework. So we'll go back to the presentation. So guys, click on that tab up there at the top. It looks like an orange square. It's right there. Is that not opening for you guys?
They're not on view, present, they're not presenting the selection.
So view, present.
Yeah, there you go.
Now click there. See my file edit.
It just says we need permission.
Oh, that's because of the way I shared it with you. I need to go here and share it with you all.
Going to change the private.
Yeah, I have to get their emails in there real quick too.
It should. If they had that original link, it would work.
Okay. Now click on it, guys, and see if you can get to it. Did it open? I don't know that I have it actually sent it to others. Okay, there you go.
Yes.
See, we all still make those mistakes, because it's a learning process, right?
So what did you do wrong?
All I didn't do is when you go to share, make sure that you change this right here to, when you open that change box, you have the option to you have to have that link shared with you by that person. Okay? So now you know what to do. If you send something, you didn't remember to change that. All right, so let's go back. And remember, you have your Google moderator up here. It's going to be the one up here with the check mark, right? You can see I've opened G-Class too many times, so I can get rid of some of those. Then if you want to do the questions really quick, if you have any questions, feel free to just go over to that tab and enter any questions you might have. All right, just real quick, Octopus and the scripts and add-ons that you're going to be able to get into and learn about was designed by, oh goodness gracious, this is the part that you need the most.
I know, I'll let you.
All right,
I'll listen to it.
Yes, it'll be recorded and you'll have this. You'll have this and the screenshots of it. Oh, you're welcome. Okay. All right, so Andrew Stillman was the guy that actually put together these scripts and runs a New Visions classroom lab. And that's important for you to know, because this is a place where you can actually go and get more add-ons or learn more about the add-ons that you're looking for, like your math add-on, things like that. He actually, what's really nice about that is he's actually a teacher, prior teacher and administrator, so he knows where you guys are coming from. And so that's really a nice thing to comfort you there with that. So real quick, we're going to go through this. Click on your click for details. All right. As you can see at the very top of the screen here, it says YouTube video for Doctopus. Make sure everybody's where we are. Did you click on details on the Doctopus slide? It's up in the title bar. And then maybe I need to do the same thing here. We're going to go to share. Yep, change. Anyone with a link? There we go. Now everybody should be able to open that.
Am I showing?
Can you see the Doctopus handout? If you're not on the Doctopus handout, go back to your slide, the slide that has the title Doctopus. Right next to that says click here for details. That opens up the step-by-step.
Mine says click here for step-by-step.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well,
we're on time.
You want
Yeah,
to
so
go.
I was on the slide. It has.
Yep, you're there. Okay.
I'm good now? Yes.
Okay. I can see that you're all there because if you notice up here at the top here, you can see that I see Angie and
Is there a limit?
Anonymous Badger. Okay. All right. So are we on the same page? Everybody ready? Okay. So at the top here, you can see that I've given you the link to a Doctopus video step by step, and just for the when I clicked on yes. Okay. So you can see that that does work. Does that work for you all?
Right there.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure there because I don't want you guys to not be on the same place where I am. Okay. What I've done is I've actually made this handout for you, so it's going to be a little bit simpler for you when you go back. Is to give you a screenshot of that same video, the kind of step by step, and you can actually, and now that you have access to it, you can add your own little notes to the bottom of it as you listen to the video. But this first start off here to talk to you about the add-ons and how to get to the add-ons to add Doctopus. But rather than go through each one of these slides, I'm going to quickly jump over here because I've actually started one over here with some students that I use for my Bible quizzing at church. So I just kind of loaded them in to kind of give you a quick little run through. And this is the part of the demonstration where I was talking to you about bringing your own roster. It may not be a good idea to do this now because the reason for that is when you create the roster that you want to create for your classroom, it's really, really important that you checkbox the create class folders because this is where you're going to get your G folders, G class folders. So that's the part that's really important and it has to be done. It has to be done in step number 2. If it's not done in step number 2, it won't operate and function in the way that you want it to. So I'm going to go ahead now since I've entered them in. And one thing that's great is if you already have your roster in a spreadsheet, paste. But I've missed some steps because you can see it's already on step 2. Okay, so step 1. Go ahead.
The other thing to add too is you can create a Google form and ask your students some basic information, like what's your first name, what's your last name, and because they're already in the system, it will record their email address. And so you could do a sample form at the beginning of your first day class, and you'll have your whole roster, and they can just copy and paste it in this.
Yeah,
so you wouldn't have to type it all.
The forms, yeah, if you just put in those 3 columns right there, that's what Doctopus wants. You put it in that format, it'll go in really, really easy.
Yeah, the email, it'll always tell you on a form, it identifies who created, who submitted on the form, and it should have your email component there.
Okay. So with that, then you can see that I've actually, it gives you a chance to set your own naming convention so that you can name it however you want to name it so that you know that you will remember it. Okay, so you want to set the roster name according to your class. So if you have several different classes, you know, there's the one demonstration in the step-by-step screenshot shows you psychology A2. You know, however you just make sure that you have, you know, that you have control over how you name that, and you can just do that here by clicking in there and changing that name. So once you have what you want, make sure this box is checked. I can't say that enough. Make sure this box right here is checked so that you can create your G-class folders. And what's nice about DocuPost is your right-hand side panel shows you everything that you're doing step by step. It gives you, if you're not ready to move to the next step, you can scroll through here and just get as much, more tips, more information. It's going to give you all that you need as far as to get the details of what you're doing in this step. And of course, the video is there for you all, and the screenshots are on the handout. All right, so we're going to create the share folders. So as you can see, it's actually when you click that button, you're actually seeing the DocuPost work. But another thing I want you to notice is it's added some new columns here. It's added an exclude column, and it's added a student folder key. That student folder key is unique to each student, and the DocuPost automatically makes it for you. Thank goodness it's not something that you have to remember because it's a lot. It's full of numbers, uppercase, lowercase, everything that you can think of while it's doing that. And just as long as this is doing this, it's still working on it. But it's also giving you some tips and things to not do and do and things like that. But also in the exclude column, this is where you can specifically change the student view or how they can access it and what they're doing with it. So. That's how you can differentiate your students, certain ones that may need a different copy or things like that as well. So anyway, we're going to save, continue with this roster. It continues to work it out through that. So successfully updated, it's going to tell you if there's any problems at this point. So here's a nice little thing as well. This is the differentiation I was telling you about before. I can finally say that word. We were in the office the other day, it was not coming out. You can see here that this is the difference that I was telling you earlier about the individual all at the same time, individual differentiated, where you can just give specific student-specific folders or files, or you can do whole class. So notice that you can, let me scroll down, you should be able to click on it or hover over it. I think you can click on it. You should be able to get more details. Yeah, once you choose one, I think it gives you more details as far as what, yeah, you scroll down. But those inside the boxes telling you exactly what you're doing. But just know that also when you add this add-on, there's also a thing that constantly scrolls and gives you step by step long video. So anyway, and know that you can send the Google moderator, you can send something on this form, send us an email if you need a step by step on that too. All right, so here's where you actually can change view only, comment only, edit only, allow view only, things like this. Assign student access level, whole class level. So whatever you choose as far as what you send out to your students, you can change at that point. Notice also there's a back button. So before you finish this out, you can always go back to the previous step. And another great feature on this is if you click on, you can add your co-teachers, or you can add a substitute teacher or anything like that on this level right here, just by entering their email addresses on this little area right here. So you would definitely make sure that they cannot change these options. There is a part, let me see, I'm not there yet, I think, that gives you the, okay, we're not there at that point, so I'm not going to confuse on that. So, we'll keep going.
I noticed it said it was updating the roster. Mm-hmm. So if somebody new comes into class.
Good question, good question. That's actually on my handout too. Because if you have a new person, I'm trying to
you don't have to start
I want to keep you guys here forever. But I'm sorry.
I guess my question was, because you said make sure in step 2 you do that thing.
That is a great question, because that is a question that comes up in the video, and it's something that you guys deal with every day.
Okay.
It does.
You don't have to teach it now.
Well, you get the option to go in and refresh your add and take away. And you can actually in that section, step 2, that's where you go back or whatever. Well, I'll get to that here in a minute. Okay, so here's where you're going to choose the folder that you're going to put it in. This is where it's important that you have created a folder prior to. And once again, there is a screenshot that talks about making sure that you have created folders where Kenzie was showing you the tab, create folders, that you have created a folder that you want it to go into. So,
Choose the high school.
yeah. There's a class demo documents. I chose that folder. There's not a folder. Go back.
Let's do a single click, maybe.
Oh, here we go. Just a different view. Okay, so right here, this is the folder. Doctor's demo students. Okay, this is just one that I've kind of made. Notice that you have this change here. That's what kept me from seeing what I wanted to see. It's a different grid, different list view. I'm sure you guys have seen that before in your Microsoft Office stuff. So you change the grid view, you can see the folders that you have created. So there's the folder that I want it to go to. Select that folder, and you can see it comes up here. And if, at this point also, you could, you just want to make sure that it's a folder that you have created and it's one that you know that this, you can kind of view it and say, oh, that's the right folder, or if not, you can go back and find it. Okay, and here, choose a different folder. All right. So if you have a specific, okay, this is important too. So it's really important too to have a blank document created. And let me go back real quick, just to that handout, so you can see what I'm talking about on that. All this is, and I've actually added my own notes to the bottom of this. Kind of what I've talked about is points that you'll want to remember, that you can see in the red underneath each screenshot. Those are things that are important about that slide that I may have missed during talking to you here. I don't want to keep you too long, and I don't want to rush through at the same time, so I gave you this to have that to go back to. Here's the adding and deleting that we were talking about earlier. Okay, so that's the step, and it shows you what step you're on right here. So pay attention to step 2 here. Okay. There's the folder choosing. It talks about making a blank document. So here, can I open that up? You create a blank document ahead of time, and that blank template can be used. It's further down than what I'm thinking. Here it is. Here's your blank template. Any type of a blank template that, like if you have a lot of assignments that are all math or all writing assignments or something that you know that you could use a blank template for. It's really important to have one of those made up and have that as an option. Go back. So and here you would want to select the blank one, which I did not do for this. So we're just going to put it in my teacher folder. Okay, now, anytime you do something, this is what's really great about this program. Anytime you do something, it's going to say, are you sure you want to do this? This is where it's going to go. So don't be afraid to try something. And, if it's going the wrong direction, and, oh, wait a minute, I need to go do that first, or, like that. So you're not going to be able to mess it up. So this is telling me that folder contents will be copied in.
You got no idea.
Oh, well, there's always help.
me.
There's always help. There's always help out there. So here, this is where I messed up. I should have already had a blank template, but I didn't. So see, we all make mistakes, and it's all to be corrected. So, due to services limitations, slowly I'm operating on. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let's just do. It's not something that I'm going to keep this one. I'm okay with this. All right, so this next step is pretty cool because it automatically gives you variables that you set up in your spreadsheet. Variables, by variables I mean like first name, last name, One appointment, first name, last name, things like that. Okay, so those variables is what it's suggesting you to choose, and it automatically went ahead and chose that for you. So if you want to change it, you can change it. Or if you decide, you know what, I just want to, create another folder, I'm not liking what this one is, or choose, you can change it. You can always make those changes here.
Were those the ones that the variables with that they created were those based on what you typed
Yes.
already?
Yes.
They don't come up with like
They're
suggestions.
they're exactly from the spreadsheet that you created, and they're all these headings right here. If you'll notice, it has the email, the student folder key, your exclude column even, so first name, last name. So Dr. Miss thought it was just really the best idea was to do last name, first name, Dr. Miss demo. If you want to even change part of this at this point, you can actually even change that part too. If you want that to be more specific to what you want it to be, you can make that specific to that as well. So this one's going to go to Dr. Miss demo for workshop. All right, so I'm liking what I see. Okay, here's the check mark here. This is what I was looking for in the last step because I knew it was there, but I didn't know which step it was in. You click on this, and it automatically gives you the option to send a quick email out to your student. You've got an assignment in your folder. Get it done. This is your deadline, blah, 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 whatever you want to say in there. Or, even, just to say, here's your document, it's due then. Or, someone that's been sick or something like that, just things like that. So you can do that. So I'm going to choose existing folder here. Got to make sure you've made all the choices, because if you've not made the choices, then it's not going to let you to the next step. So I'm going to keep it. That so. So now we're ready to save and continue. And rest assured that anything that I might have done here in this one that may not work really well, you can go back to your step-by-step and it'll show you exactly something that I might have not covered. But the biggest thing is creating the folders. Creating those folders ahead of time, creating those blank templates ahead of time, and making sure that because Doctopus, once you have those folders created, Doctopus will keep them organized for you. And here in this last step here, it's kind of giving you a review before you step forward of everything that you chose and what you've done. And it also gives you the option here still to go back, okay? We're going to run a copy and share, and at this point, it's actually sending all those students that you have listed on right here on your roster, it's sending them all their homework assignment at this point. So as it's working, that's what's going on under the documents. Any questions at this point?
They had an email at the same time, right?
Yes.
Sent straight to them.
Yep. If you check that. If you don't have to send them the email, because if they're used to knowing that, you're getting a daily assignment, your homework is there, they may not want to see that email and be like, I know it's there, stop emailing me this, kind of thing. It's up to you to know what you want to do on that. Okay. And so this is telling me that some of the emails were not able to be shared. So, they are all Gmail emails. You guys shouldn't have this problem so much because you're going to have all school emails. It's going to be, as long as you're on the same domain, you guys are all going to be fine with that, and all students have their own emails, so you're good. All right, so we're ready to continue. The thing you might notice here, while that's doing that, is you have an option right now to get written feedback. You have the option to see when it was last edited.
And it's all private to the student.
Yes. And what's really cool is you can click on this. You now have a link to click on the document that your student sees for that student. That link was, for that specific student. So don't waste time looking for that. But as what you're going to also notice here now on your right panel of Doctopus, you've got the option to attach your rubric, refresh the last edit time. The last edit time lets you keep control of when your student's been in there, or you can actually go see how often they've been in there. Something that came up on one of the Google Hangouts on air that I watched was there was cheating going on or whatever. A student was able to, send something over because of the setting he missed or whatever, and but it was caught right away. So it's not something they're going to get by with. It's something, and the funny thing was, is the student ended up deleting the whole thing because he noticed that everybody else could see what he'd done.
Oh.
And yeah, quickly decided that you better do something. This embargo docs for grading is a really cool option as well, because you're able to go in and stop. You're able to freeze documents so that the students cannot add anything else to it at that point if you're grading it. And then once you're done grading it, then you can go in and stop the embargo and let them re-edit it if they want, and give them an opportunity to get it graded again. So anyway, send feedback through email, transfer ownership. This transfer for ownership is a really good option, because what happens here is now you're transferring that once you're done with what you're going to do with it, you've already got a spreadsheet that's already kept everything that you guys have done. You've got your grades in there, you've got the written feedback that you've given them, and everything it's saved in your spreadsheet. And you're able to now transfer the ownership of that document back to your students, back to their folders, so that clears up your drive. So that, like Kristen was saying, she has all these documents from these students. Now it goes back to their folders, just like handing it back to them. Okay, I'm done with that document. You can take it home, throw it away, do whatever you want to with it. But at that point, you can transfer ownership back to the student. It clears out your drive. So,
And it's all individual.
I'm sorry.
We see the array, the spreadsheet, all the entire roster, but when it goes back, it's all.
And they're supposed to do it. You're right. All right. So I don't look for us to be able to get into the rest of the handouts with the Goobrick and the Flippery, because we're already getting short on time. But I do want to do something really quick. And like I said, let's just go back to that real quick. Go back to this here, and go down to this. So we get a better view of this. The Goobrick step-by-step. Notice that every one of the slides here have a Goobrick step-by-step. They also have a video, which I'm going to show you, that you have a YouTube video within this presentation that you can go to and watch the video. And like I said, all of my things I've made, let's make sure that they are, are shared to you. Anyone who's listening, which I've already shared this document with you, so it's already in your shared folders, right? So you guys already have this. This gives you, again, the step-by-step for Goobrick, which is really short and simple because it's right along with documents. As you can see, it gives you the option to attach a rubric. And as I said before, rubric is just easy to remember because rubric is your rubric. You know, if you've ever designed a rubric, so they named it something that's really close to that. So it shows you how to make a rubric. And the nice thing about, one thing that we need to tell you is with the Docs and the Google Drive platform, you have the option to add apps, extensions. Apps are scripts, written scripts. Extensions are things that are scripts as well, but they will go in different places. You'll look for them in different places. Okay, if something says it's an app, an add-on, or a script, or I'm sorry, apps, add-on, or extension. Okay, just real quick, extension is that you're going to find it over here. As soon as you load an extension, it's going to be available to you over in this area right here. As you can see from this right here, this Goobrick is an extension. So once you add it, it's going to be right here. Okay? And this step-by-step shows you how to add that extension. Okay, so I won't go into too much detail to overwhelm you here. The add-ons are done here, okay? And they're going to be always found from this area. There are certain add-ons that are only for docs, or certain add-ons that's only for spreadsheets, and vice versa. So if you're trying to add on something that's just, oh, it's not paying on for me, I know that this is something covered, it may be that it's only available to you in spreadsheets. So, and it may, like the county I can't never say, Kazina, whatever you think you would put it, which Kazina is a pretty awesome add-on. It actually gives you the opportunity to highlight any of your students' work and give verbal feedback, verbal comments, and things like that. So there's just so many cool things out there that we could never cover it all. So we did that. And then as far as the apps goes, then it's going to be found in the Google or Chrome Web Store. Okay. The big thing with the Chrome Web Store, though, and the apps that you get, am I wrong, Sean? You might want to correct me. That's